Welcome to the SEO.co Search Engine Optimization Podcast. Digital marketing essentials and next level tactics. From offsite and on-site optimization to persuasive selling and everything in between. You'll learn actionable tips on what it takes to outright and outrank your competition. Now, here's your host, Timothy Carter.
Thanks for joining me on the podcast. Today we're going to talk about how poor SEO can reduce website sales performance. Now, SEO isn't all the same. There are a set of simple, strategies which, when executed together, they can result in your website ranking higher for the ideal search queries that you're looking to rank for. Ranking higher for those various phrases usually results in a much higher traffic volume coming to your website, obviously, which in turn increases the total number of sales potentially that are generated by your online marketing efforts. However, some business owners execute SEO strategies that are questionable, in an effort to increase their rank. And as a result, some of their website visitors may become disinterested rather than engaged. In effect, these poor strategies do end up bringing more people to the site, but because of the low quality, they end up only in lost visits and lost sales. There are a couple of examples of poor quality SEO strategies, but all of them are rooted in the same mentality, focusing only on the end result of SEO, increasing rankings in the SERPs, instead of focusing on user experience. And that leads to robotic mathematical design and copy, which basically alienates users rather than, drawing them in and converting them. In effect, poor SEO is the process of writing and designing for a machine, Google's bots, rather than writing and designing for humans. And, these are just some of the ways that poor SEO can manifest itself on a typical site. The robotic flat copy that sounds unnatural or stuffed with keywords. Maybe pages that exist solely to anchor a specific keyword phrase and serve no real purpose for the site. Maybe meta titles and descriptions that aren't appealing or compelling to get people to click through. Irrelevant or off-topic phrases appearing out of context on the site. And then irrelevant and non-valuable links posted on external sites. Any of these results of poor SEO can ultimately lead to lost sales opportunities. The most notorious symptom of poor SEO is robotic sounding copy, which can alienate users and definitely result in a bad experience. This usually comes as a result of writing copy for the sole purpose of filling up web space, such as creating a new page in your navigation just to rank for a specific keyword, or stuffing your copy so full of keywords that it no longer makes any logical sense. A new visitor coming to your site will see this kind of material and immediately get a bad impression. They may not know your material was written specifically for SEO, but they'll know it wasn't written for them because it doesn't sound like a human. You have to write like a human if you're going to appeal to a human. Seems pretty simple, right? Another poor SEO is endless navigation. Adding pages to your nav for the sole purpose of increasing rank is also, a bad idea. While it's true having a dedicated page for a product or service will increase your rank for that product or service, but adding a page simply for the sake of adding a page is only going to leave you with extra fluff. It tends to fill up your navigation bar or your sitemap, which can be confusing to inbound users, especially if they're new to your business. And if a user spends too much time trying to figure out what a real page on your site is and what's just fluff, they're going to leave before they've had the chance to convert. Another thing, when a user comes to your site, it's your job to make sure they stay there. A high bounce rate means that the majority of users who come to your site leave before taking any further action. And that's usually a direct result of having minimal on-page value. People who practice poor SEO only look at how their site layout and design functions for search engines instead of how they engage with the incoming visitors. If you want to keep your visitors on site and increase the likelihood of conversions, you'll need to add more value to your individual pages, such as unique content, embedded videos, infographics, or other informative and entertaining materials. Another one, your site also needs to answer your users' questions. And if you're busy stuffing keywords into that flat, uninteresting content, you'll never have the chance with them. Use FAQ sections, contact us pages, and your blog to write up and answer all the common questions that your users have. Remember, your goal is to inform your users and make your company seem like an approachable, trustworthy source. Otherwise, you can abandon any hope of achieving conversions. Poor SEO can also lead to irrelevant traffic. Even if you're optimizing for a keyword that seems relevant to your industry, it may not generate a segment of your demographics with a high tendency to convert. For example, stuffing your page with the terms of how to prepare a steak will attract people who may already have steaks and aren't interested in purchasing them. Instead, focusing on specific keyword phrases and questions, just write valuable content that highlights your business. Google will be able to interpret the rest and present you when relevant user queries arise. Another one, posting external links that aren't grounded in value can also lead to lost interest and lost sales. For example, if you just post backlinks randomly, not only will you probably get a penalty from Google, you might also dissuade potential customers due to your spamming them. Make sure all your links are relevant to the blog or forum, relevant to your conversation, and valuable for anyone who might stumble across it. Rather than actively trying to avoid mistakenly using poor SEO in your marketing strategy, all you have to do is adjust your mentality. True, SEO is all about trying to improve your rank in the search engines, but your primary focus needs to be on your user base. Rather than implementing new pages or new copy that you think will make Google happy, make changes that you think will make your users happy. Look at everything from a user experience perspective rather than a search engine bot perspective, and the rest should happen naturally. If you're worried about optimizing for humans and losing the favor of search engines, don't be. Google cares about getting the best, most relevant results for its users and giving them the best possible online experience. In fact, it doesn't even use keywords as its fundamental basis for search anymore. Instead, it uses a concept known as semantic search, which analyzes the intent behind a user query and finds the appropriate material based on how it understands each site to function. In effect, keywords aren't as important as they used to be. You just have to be the most relevant, valuable answer on the web to an incoming user's query. That means providing the best user experience. In short, as long as you're making your users happy, you're making Google happy, and the rest will happen naturally in terms of your ranking. While it's tempting to do anything and everything you can to increase your rank in the major search engines, think twice before committing your strategies. Over-optimizing your website and offsite strategies can ultimately lead to poor SEO, which can compromise any increase in rank you might experience and potentially result in the loss of leads. Remember, no matter how badly you want to increase your traffic and please the search engine robots, your users have to come first. And that's it for today's episode. If you need some help improving your user experience, maybe you have some poor SEO, come on over to SEO.co and schedule a time to have a free consultation. Learn how we can help you scale your ability to outright and outrank your competition.
Thank you for joining us on the SEO.co podcast. We appreciate your time. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit SEO.co for more resources based on today's topic, as well as access to more podcast episodes to help you improve your site's long-term SEO success.